maybe you were building that business and it was super exciting, and, you had this team together and everything was just flowing and growing. Like, there was no fear. There was no anger. There was no resentment. There was no jealousy.
Welcome back to Young Smart Money with me, your host, Crider. Today we're sitting down with the one and only Phil McCarthy. Okay, I met this dude in Arizona when I was meeting up with Caleb Maddox and some other cool people. This guy is extremely fired up about life, okay? He is very involved in the fitness space. This dude is completely jacked. So if you're watching the video version, you are going to get a taste of that. But this dude is doing some massive things. Again, he's really passionate about getting young people like fired up and taking action and really just like going for it. So in this episode, we're going to be talking about gratitude, which is something that I think is extremely important for a lot of young people to internalize, myself included. Like, just being grateful for the things that you have. It is such a powerful thing, because once you have that gratefulness just ingrained in your subconscious mind, it does so much for you. So we're going to be talking about being grateful. We're going to be talking about how you can move yourself to the next level. Okay, if you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling like you're sort of spinning your wheels, like, this podcast is going to give you what you need to get out of that rut. Okay, so by the end of this podcast, and guys, one thing that I really want to emphasize is, when I consume content, it's so important to be taking notes. Okay, so literally, even if it's just a couple bullet points, but like, pick out some things from this podcast, because there are a lot of things that you can start implementing today, because Phil gives you a lot of actionable things that you could literally take action on today. So pick three of these things, write them down, and start doing them, okay? Because if you listen to podcasts, that's great, but if you're not doing anything with that information, then it's really just entertainment. And I want this to be informational for you guys. I want this to be beneficial and educational. So take some notes on the amazing wisdom that Phil McCarthy is about to drop on you and your life, and get ready to get fired up, because this dude does not mess around. His energy levels are off the charts, and we're also going to be talking about that and how to channel that energy from what you are doing. So without further ado, I'm going to stop rambling. We're going to let Phil on to the podcast to provide some amazing value. So without further ado, sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode of Young Smart Money. All right, Phil, welcome to Young Smart Money. How are you doing today?
Dude, amazing, Apple. What's up, bro? Thank you, brother, for having me. My God.
That's what I like to hear, man. So met Phil over in Arizona about a week ago now, visiting Caleb Maddox, and Phil is the man. So wanted to connect with him, heard a little bit about his story, and then I've been researching even more about him lately, and I'm just getting more and more fascinated by this dude. So Phil, for our listeners, they got to hear a little bit about you in the intro to this episode, but give us like a 60-second snapshot of like, who is Phil McCarthy right now?
For sure, bro. You're the man, bro, because you're doing it. You're doing it. And I love that you said that you've been digging a little bit on me. A lot of people don't do that. They're just trying to do podcasts and do things, and they don't really do their due diligence. And that's how we really become successful, like by doing the due diligence that other people aren't willing to do.
Precisely.
So if you're willing to do that about a guest, I can only imagine how you tackle everything in life that you're trying to, win and succeed at. So guys, my name is Phil McCarthy. I appreciate y'all. I hope you stick through this. I'm going to drop some fire, some passion, some motivation, inspiration for you. Real quick, man, I'm 32, 24 years old. I walked out of a rehab for drug addiction, and I turned around and looked at those doors. I said, I never want to go back there. And I didn't mean to that building, that place, but I meant that state of mind, that way I was living. So I took every ounce of belief and passion. I began to mold it and cultivate and create it, just like you would a crop or like a plantation and a harvest you're trying to reap, And I just went to work, dude. And now we're like almost a decade later, and I'm just blessed. I'm fucking blessed, And yeah, I mean, that's like where I am, where I come from. And I started a few businesses in the past 4 years. And now it's my mission to work with young males, 18 to 35. Like, a lot of people try and teach things, and they've never even done it. You know what I mean? Like, you're out there, you're growing, you're gathering, you're taking all these seeds so that you can plant them. And you got all these young guys out there, they're trying to teach people fitness, they're trying to teach people life coaching, like they're trying to teach people this and that. And it's like, I've literally lived it. So I'm very hard. I talk a lot, and I'm very serious, but it all comes from a place of love and compassion, because I've lived on both sides of the fence, man. I was broke in every way, shape, and form. I was wealthy in different ways, shapes, and forms. And I can speak on a lot because I've lived a lot, man. A lot of people think that, the amount of time you're spent here on this earth dictates your experience, but your experiences dictate your experiences. You know what I mean? And like, that's what I love about Caleb. Like, he's 17, but that young man has Caleb Maddox has more experiences on planet Earth so far than most 70-year-olds that I know, because he put himself in that position. And everyone watching this, you can do that. What we have to be willing to do is step out of our comfort zone and become super uncomfortable and do what scares us the most, and it will lead you to your purpose like it has me, So I just teach fellas how to do that, and by default, we get a fucking six-pack, bro.
I love it, man. I love it. So let's talk about getting out of your comfort zone, because that's something I'm super passionate about as well. And I think that's something that a lot of young people around me, I see them not doing that. They're actively staying in their comfort zone. So talk about getting out of your comfort zone. Talk to the 16, 17, 18-year-old out there who wants to sort of grow. How can they start to get those experiences?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I look at it like this. If you're staying where you're at, if you're staying in your comfort zone, and you're not able to step out, then how are you going to step into the person you're meant to become? There's 8 billion people on this earth. How many podcasts are there? How many guys with six-packs are there? How many guys with t-shirt businesses are there? What separates you from the other million in your industry or billion in your industry? The only thing that will separate you from the rest is if you're the best. And the only way to be the best is to work like the best. The only way to be the best is to take the shots, to take the chances that the best are willing to take. The only reason Michael Jordan was Michael Jordan, yes, he was talented, but yes, he would show up before everybody. After a championship, he would go shoot 300 more baskets. He didn't go celebrate. I see people celebrating a win that I wouldn't even literally call a win. You know what I mean? How hard are you willing to work? How much are you willing to give? That's something else too. A lot of young people want now. I am where I am because I gave more than I received. The universe takes care of me, man. A lot of people see winning when there's a paycheck attached to it, You're winning when the universe lets you know you're winning, and that's the only way. Not when your mother tells you, not when your peers tell you, not when your surroundings, in the environment and the people, because the people that are telling you, their opinion don't even count. Most people's opinions to me just do not count, ready? I don't take criticism from anyone I wouldn't take advice from, and how many people would you really take advice from? It's limited. When the universe responds, that's a sign for me to go, okay, this is working, bro. You've done this in accordance, and the universe says here, and that's all everything is. It's energy, man. The universe is energy. This is energy. Your energy, the sound waves, this is fucking energy. And we got to put our body in a state. This is a vehicle. People think Phil, boom, whatever, black hair, Crider with the cool bandana and stuff, your brand, all that's energy, bro. You would not have been able to develop your brand if you didn't have energy that was exerting a sense of creativity and a thought process that was allowing you to cultivate who Apple Crider is, who Phil McCarthy is. So we just want to get ourselves in a state, man, of abundance, of creativity, and do what hurts, because it's everything's so correlative, bro. This is what I learned from, before the drugs, I was a taker. I wanted to receive now. I wanted the paycheck. I wanted everything now, right? But I learned from fitness that you can't grow any muscle. No matter how much steroids you do, no matter how many shortcuts you take, you still can't grow a muscle without time, without consistency, without the proper plan of attack, It's just a compounded effect of the right actions, the right habits, the right routines. And that's the way it is. That's the way life is. That's the way everything is. Building a business, it's got to be built under the same circumstances. Building a podcast to grow and flourish, it's got to be built under the same circumstances. And the best way to gain experiences when you're in a place where you're not succeeding yet is to give, because there's so many people that want to work with me, that want to go on your podcast. But in order to be where I'm at today, for the people that want to work with me because they see my energy, they can hear my information, they know I know what the fuck I'm talking about, I had to put in the hours. I had to put in the failures. I had to put in the uncomfortable positions. The muscle, when you train it, it hurts, right? You worked out, bro. When you lift weights, it burns. It hurts. That's when people quit. And that's when people quit in life. But you got to make it hurt. You got to be uncomfortable in the moment so you can be truly comfortable later. You know, we want quick results, but we're here long term. It's all kind of common sense. If you just kind of like sit, dig, listen, and understand processes, everything's correlative. Fitness, life, business, relationships, they all work the same, man. Once you can master one, you can master the others, you know? I fully believe that. Yeah.
So, man, you've got a ton of energy. Like, how do you channel this energy? Like, where is it coming from?
Yeah. It's so funny because, like, people, like, will say that. And, like, I just think, like, this is just me, you know? But
Yeah.
it wasn't even always like this. I was super, before the drugs and stuff, like, when I was a kid, man, I was super introverted. I was socially awkward. I went from 10th to 11th grade. This is part of the reason I did drugs, because I was numb and I was hurting. I was in pain, bud. As like a young kid, and there's a lot of young kids like listening to this. Like, I was in pain, dude. I was hurting because I wasn't equipped with the skill sets or the character traits or the integrity to like push through the pain. So I would go to like, I remember I went to a new school and I'd sleep at the lunch table because I thought that was more comfortable than going up to somebody and shaking their hand and introducing myself. You know what I mean? So what I did was I did what I didn't want to do. And I realized, you know, over the years from working, coming out of the rehab, I did some research when I left that day. I remember it was September 16th, 2011. I turned around, I looked at those doors. Like I said, there were these big gold handles on these big, cool-ass oak doors. But the place was a shithole. There were signs in there saying, like, if you get bed bugs, it's not our fault, crazy stuff like that. And I remember, like, I never want to go back here. What can I do? So I started to research. And here's where the energy began. Here's where the creativity came from. I started to research how to release the chemicals in the human body that make us feel good, that make us happy, that make us creative. You know, there's a plethora of them, like EDSO, endorphin, dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin. There are happy chemicals. When you see like a pretty chick, chemicals are released. You know, oxytocin, dopamine is released. When you see puppies, like when you feel good, when you're doing something that makes you feel good, all that is a chemical release. And what happens is when we fill it with a false belief, drugs, renting Lamborghinis, bullshit Rolexes, watching the people that you idol who are using these false beliefs to motivate you. Like, what happens when you take that shit away? Because it will be taken away because the Instagram post will be gone, or you won't be able to rent that Lamborghini another week, or so on and so forth. You feel me? Guess what? The chemicals that were released with it are taken away too. So what I did was, how can I release them naturally? How can I like build this belief and this integrity inside of me? And it was exercise. And that's why like, so it's all in the mind, dude. You believe this, you know this. Every fucking thing in the world, everything we have or don't have, everything we create or the lack of is because of the thoughts that we create. But the thoughts are created from feelings. We were doing some back engineering yesterday. Me and my dude Caleb with this young kid were like helping. And it's like people say thoughts, but like, where do thoughts come from? Well, thoughts come from environments, of course, like the people you surround yourself with and stuff. But what if there was no one around and you were just like by yourself, or you were like living in the woods or whatever? You're still going to experience emotions, and those emotions are going to lead you to something. So emotions are also triggered by chemicals, and there's just like this cycle. So I said, how can I put myself in a feel-good state more often than not? How can I release these chemicals naturally so I'm not relying on outside sources? There's something missing in here, yet I'm going to take something from the outside and fill it, but that thing can be taken away again, as we just explained. So we need to really go to work inside, and that's what I did. Exercise was the number one way to naturally release these chemicals and, you know, not have any like ill side effects. As a matter of fact, I was like, hold on, maybe I can get in some shape too. Maybe, you know, I was 105 pounds, dude. When I walked out of the rehab, I was 105. I was like walking death. I was like, fucked, bro. I was like, when I say broken, spiritually, financially, physically, mentally, emotionally, like I was just distraught. And you want to talk about being uncomfortable, super embarrassed of like myself, and just credibility shot to shit with everybody in my life ever. But I knew that the pain of where I was at that moment was way greater than the pain of doing the work. You know, and that's, see, when you want it, it's like Eric Thomas says this, right? Like when you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, then you'll be successful. When the pain of where you are today, this is Phil McCarthy's, when the pain of where you are today precedes the pain of doing the work, actually doing the work, then you'll do the work. Then you'll begin on the proper path. Then you'll begin your journey of success. So I was like, I can do some push-ups. I can do some of this stuff. I can go work. I can get a gym membership. I can learn, because it's that or I'm going to die. You know what I mean? Perspective. You know, I was shifting perspective. Your perspective is the most powerful thing you have control of. And no matter where you're at, you can begin to change it with thoughts, even if you don't feel good. There's so many things, bro. I could roll on with so much. And I'm trying to cram so much in this, you know, because I just love people, dude. You know, I just want to help people. It's so genuine and authentic. And some of the stuff I was saying about like the Lamborghinis and the Rolex, and there's reasons, you know, because I see what goes on Instagram. I don't follow a whole lot of it, but like there's this one dude who's out there. One of my buddies showed me today. I don't even follow him. He's like claiming bankruptcy, but he's not claiming bankruptcy. You probably know what I'm talking about.
I do. It's so stupid.
It's a promo. Listen, super strategic, super great, but you're playing on people's insecurities. You're playing on the weak's insecurities, bro, and it makes me sick. It literally makes me want to throw up, bro. It makes me want to cry, dude. Seriously, like, it hurts me. Like, it's super fucked, bro. Like, this, I'm just like, and I literally want to kill these people. I don't mean kill them, go to jail. I mean, I want to kill what they stand for, bud. I want to kill the image. Like, you're a good dude. I met you. I could see it. I could feel it in you. Like, you come from a pure place of intention, you know?
Thank you.
And, like, people look at me and they judge me because I'm tan and I got fucking muscles. But like, I didn't want a six-pack, bud. I didn't want to pick up chicks. Does it help? Sure. Like, it does. It does. But I wanted to not die, dude. I wanted to not die. And I would research. And I was so uncomfortable, you know? And I'm rolling on, but this was all about being uncomfortable. I was so uncomfortable this whole time, but it led me to a place of true comfortability. And that's why we got to just step back sometimes and realize, like, there's 8 billion people on this earth. We want to win. We want the now, but if you were to break it down into a formula, it's literally impossible. And if you do get it now, if you do win now, like I have at one time, I wasn't the person capable of sustaining it because I didn't have the integrity. I didn't have the character. I didn't have the skill sets. You know, I wasn't capable, you know? Everybody wants to earn, like everybody wants, but like, let's become deserving. Like, let's earn. Like, that way when we do have it, we know how to keep it. We know how to continue to cultivate it. Everything must be nourished and continue. Like, it's like a relationship with a chick. It's great in the beginning. It's always great in the beginning. There's chemicals flowing and stuff, but then the law of familiarity comes into play and all these things start to happen. Like, it's because people don't know how to cultivate and continue to nurture and nourish. Like, we have to learn that stuff. And that's why I love the fitness, because the fitness has taught me that everything is trainable. You know, like, I can train my gratitude. My gratitude is a muscle. Everything is a muscle, man. Focus is a muscle. It's not something we have. It's something we do. We learn to focus, you know. We learn to be grateful. Gratitude has been one of the biggest players for me. If any of y'all, let me see if I got something. If any of y'all take one thing from this that you can instill in your life to begin to bring you some results, like, and change your state, because that's what everything is. It's the state we live in. It's the state upstairs, you know. Gratitude is a humongous game changer. You know, when I was going through the hard shit and the drugs and like, I was always there because I wanted the now. I wanted the now because I didn't appreciate where I was at that moment in my life. But if I was happy, if I was fulfilled, if I was on the right path and I was in a state of gratitude, well, when think about a time when your people, like, you felt like amazing. You felt just amazing. Everything was great. You were with your family. Maybe you were with your girlfriend that you're in love with. You know, maybe you were building that business and it was super exciting. And, you know, you had this team together and everything was just flowing and growing. Like, there was no fear. There was no anger. There was no resentment. There was no jealousy. There was no bitterness. There were no negative emotions present. So if we can live in a state of gratitude as often as possible, we can live with the right attitude as often as possible. And what happens is our subconscious becomes trained, bro. It becomes trained just like this muscle. I go to the gym this morning. I smash legs. Guess what? Let's just say I smash arms because I can show the arm, right? Guess what? I train it for 45 minutes. I do it right. Guess what? For the rest of the day, I get to walk around with the muscle. It stays with me. I look this way for the rest of the day. I don't just look this way when I work out. I have it. I own it. It's mine. I built it. I put in the work, the real work. You know what I'm saying? Nobody can take it from me, dude. Nobody can repo my shit. Nobody can take – my integrity is not leased. It's mine, bro. I can fucking spend money. I can lose money. I can fuck up. I can always make more, but this is mine. Nobody can take this from me. This is the most powerful thing. Once you understand how this operates here, the body is the drivetrain. The mind is the ECU, the computer. Once we get a foundational understanding of how it operates and runs, we can manipulate the fucking shit out of it to get what we really want. That's the only way. So gratitude, right? So when you're in a state of gratitude, well, your subconscious will now literally look for things around you to bring more of that into your life that keep you in that state. Have you ever been in a room with somebody, bro? I know you have, because you're like a little networker. So listen, ready? So tell me about a time that you were in a room, you were anywhere, bud, and you're maybe having a conversation with somebody over here and you're talking about whatever, but you literally pick up someone else talking about, somebody, you got to get Grant Cardone on your podcast, or, oh man, I'm building this new podcast. I wish I had somebody that would teach me about it. Do you know what I'm saying? You literally picked up on shit that you weren't even a part of, but your subconscious grabbed it and brought it into you. Am I right?
Yep.
Especially for business guys, man, or like, you hear someone, dudes, you be talking to your boy and you hear another dude, yo, check that chick out over there. You're like, what? Wait, hold on, what? And you go right, but somebody else could be like, this and that. And you don't notice it because it's not on your subconscious. It's not inside of you. It's not part of your programming. So what we do is we reprogram ourselves, and, we want to be reprogrammed. And if we're already doing great, guess what? Let's download some new software. Let's become better. That should be our objective as men, as human beings on earth, to just continuously grow. That's why I say a true alpha male is. Like, I see myself as a true alpha male. Like, I'm able to be vulnerable. Like, I literally almost cried a couple minutes ago. Like, I started to tear up. Like, you know when to put your ego aside. You know when to be vulnerable. You know when to be real. You know when to use your ego to stand up for fucking people who are jerk-offs, or being jerk-offs to good people. Like, there's a time and a place for everything. You have to know how to control it. So here I go rolling on a tangent again. But the best way to train your gratitude muscle is, I call these like a gratitude bracelet. I don't know where I got it from, bro. I got it months ago years ago. And what I do is, like, the first bead, like all these beads, everybody wears them to be cool, right? Mm-hmm. Like, they do everything. Rent a Lamborghini to be cool, right? Like, they do everything. But it's like, and like, granted, now I find ones that I do like that match, like, maybe the clothes. Like, you got your bandana, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is my bandana, dude. Except I use it for something, and it has a meaning to it. So I train my gratitude muscle. First bead, something I'm grateful for. Second bead, another thing I'm grateful for. So on and so forth. Now I'm at the point where maybe the whole bracelet, there's 20 beads on this bracelet. Maybe the whole bracelet is like just a mantra. Maybe half of it's a mantra. Maybe half of it's something I'm grateful for. And we don't use materialistic things. People, like tonight, bro, I'm going to be like, I'm fucking super grateful for Apple's podcast. Like, he's a dope dude. Like, you'll be on there. You know what I mean? And that's the beauty of it, that every day offers new experiences. Every day offers new people. Every day offers, even if it's a shit day, which I don't even have anymore because that's perspective too. Even if it's a shit day, it's a great day because you learn. Like, the shittiest times in my life, right, which we already discussed, led me here. Without it, I wouldn't be here. So, like, there's always the good. And what it does is it pulls that stuff out, and then it becomes a part of you. So I do it every morning when I wake up, first thing. Like, it's on my wrist, right? I have, like, different ones. It's on my wrist. I do it. I go to bed. I do it. And guess what? Now, I don't even need to do it. I wake up. I subconsciously go into gratitude state. Start thinking about things. I go to bed. I subconsciously start to go into a gratitude state. And it keeps me in a state of gratitude more often than not. It's one of my things I teach my guys. I ship them a bracelet, get to work. It's super easy. Everything we are or have is due to our habits and routines. Only the successful are willing to admit it.
Word, dude. Word. You just dropped so much wisdom, man. Like, gratitude is something that I've been focused on a lot lately. And I'm really glad you dove into that, because I think that could really benefit a lot of our younger listeners today who need to hear that.
Dude, it could benefit anybody, bro. Anybody. Like, gratitude is the best state to be in.
100%. So let's bounce back to earlier in the show. You mentioned the last 4 years you've started a couple different businesses. Let's talk about those, man.
Yeah, 100%. So what are we in, 2019 now? 2015, I was a union elevator constructor. So 2011, I come out of the rehab. I go and I bust my ass, and I spend 2 years on just diving into personal growth. I got a part-time job at a nutrition store. I'm into the physical growth, the personal growth, right? Reading books, training, just learning, growing, and cultivating, right? So that I can begin to reap a harvest. Just like a farmer. Like, he doesn't just make money from a corn crop. He's got to plant the shit. He's got to water. He's got to do it right, or else he doesn't reap shit. Yeah. So I'm going to work. I'm doing it. I'm taking the time. I'm building all my skill sets and my traits. And then I go get my elevator job back that I lost. Okay, so I get it back within a year. I reached the top of the compensation, and I hate it. I was making like 120. I'm around all these miserable people. All these the dudes are fat and overweight. They come to work because they want to get away from their wife. Their backs and knees are bad. I'm like, yo, I'm gonna end up like these people. But I put myself in a state of creativity, right? I'm always creative because I'm training, I'm exercising, I'm working, I'm reading, so I'm creative. My body, my subconscious, everything's doing what we were designed to put here on this earth to do. So I'm like, I'm going to start a t-shirt company. So everyone's laughing at me. My step-pop's like, what do you know about t-shirts, like this and that. And, I didn't listen. I just kept going, bro. My belief is so strong. I'm like, oh, I can build this and this. Like, I can build that too. How hard is it, I start researching, wasn't getting a ton of help from people, had no mentors, didn't even know like Instagram or anything. Like, bro, I was just a grinder. You know what I was? I was someone who welcomed failure. And I would be up to 2 a.m, 4 a.m, and do all this crazy stuff because like my system wasn't working on the software for my printer, and I didn't know what to do. And I would just keep grinding and grinding and grinding, and I failed a lot, dude. But I wound up joining so 9 months into the beginning of the t-shirt company that I was starting out of my bedroom, I went and then hired people from Craigslist because to leave my 6-figure job. Well, I was like, I'm not just going to leave. Like, I need to replace the income. I had a mortgage note at this time, or 6-7 years or whatever, out of my addiction, my hardships, and I'm growing, right? I'm like, well, I need to replace the income. I didn't want to make less, and I knew I could. So 9 months in, I'm making like maybe $100K in revenue. Like, that's pretty good for a t-shirt dude, but only about 50 of it's profit, okay? So I'm like, I need more. I need to do more, but I can't leave the job. Like, I need that time to grow more. Like, what am I going to do? I need to create more leverage. I just was aware of things, bro. I was super aware. Like, how did I know to work and cultivate and do some of the things I did for all those years before I reaped a harvest? Like, God spoke to me. The universe spoke to me. Do this, suffer, bitch, because you always want it now. And that way didn't work, so we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it my way, and let it hurt, And that's what I did. And then I found a network marketing company, and this dude was just always playing on jet skis. He's still like a great friend of mine. I don't even think he's really a mentor of mine anymore. I've moved so fast, but he's an amazing dude, and we're still like best buds, and we help one another in business. And he taught me a lot about that, and I took my hunger, I took my motivation, my energy, and I poured it into that. I made like $50K in like 4 months. I broke all kinds of company records, and between that and that, I was like, yo, I'm leaving. And I left, dude. I left the job. I remember I took a week vacation from the job, and I said, all right, if I can complete this goal, it was like this $14,000 bonus or something. If I can complete this goal, I'm not going back. And so I took a week off work, and then I did it, dude. I just did it. It was like no matter what. And it was like, you have to sign up this many people, multi-level marketing, so on and so forth. And I did it. I'm like, I'm all right, done. I called the boss, and I didn't go back, dude. And this was like 3 years ago. So then I went on to start a couple other things. I started a meal prep company. It was super successful. Put in my girlfriend's name. Now that's gone, of course, And yeah, man. Then today I'm here in Arizona. So yeah, I'm top income in a network marketing company. Really cool. Now I have the t-shirt company. I have a home base location, retail property in Ben Salem, Pennsylvania. Yeah. So like, and those things just kind of run themselves, I get the cars and the vacations from the network marketing company. And now what I'm doing is because I've created this vehicle, I'm able to live financially stable and in a good position. I'm able to now take all these skill sets and this energy and this information. I'm able to pour it into what like I'm really supposed to do, and that's help people. I work 18 to 35 young dudes. There's a link in my bio. It's freefitnesscall.com/M6. And like, it's free. Boom. You just go fill it out. You know what I mean? And we just jump on a call. That's what I love. My world changed from all that shit that I did, right? Like I almost died, right? I almost took my life. There was about a suicide before going into the rehab and stuff. Like if my world changed, realistically, that's the world, bro. Because if I was gone, there's no world existing to me anymore. So really the world consists of an individual. We got to change it for one at a time. Then we got to create leverage and just boom, impact millions of people with leverage, So that's what I'm here for. That's what I'm supposed to do. That's my mission.
Straight up. So how do you start implementing that leverage? Like, we got a listener that wants to change the world. Like, how do they start implementing that leverage?
So I think that, ready? It's like, all right, you want to change the world, but you're 20 years old. Maybe don't look at fucking changing the world, dude. You know what I mean? Look at changing your world. You want this giant, great, vast outcome, but you're not the motherfucker capable of changing the world, bro. So how about you learn the little bit of actions and habits it takes to become the person capable of changing the world? That's what I'm talking about. That's why I'm getting passionate right now. It's so cliche and fucked. Change the world, change the world. Have you changed your world? Have you changed anyone else's world? I'm not getting mad. I'm just getting passionate.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I see everybody's an entrepreneur. I ain't a fucking entrepreneur. I'm a fucking dude. That's what I am. All right. Everybody's a fucking entrepreneur, but yet they're fucking broke. And I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about inside they're fucking broke. Okay. Because they're trying to live this false bullshit. So don't try and change the world. Try and implement the habits and the routines the most successful people in the world do. And then guess what? You'll begin to become the person who's capable of changing the world. Okay? That's the only fucking way. Work out. Get some mentors. Meditate. Fucking read. How many books you read? Okay? And then not just read the book for fucking 30 minutes, and then whatever the fuck you got from it, go implement it. Because the best way to learn is to teach. You have to take action. There's a lot of that missing today. There's all this information, but there's so little application. Application. That's what I did, right? Think about that. Think about what I just put down. Apple, I didn't have any mentors. I had some books and I had lots of YouTube videos. The only reason I did what I did in a short period of time is because I applied myself massively. I was obsessed. I took the addiction, I turned it into an obsession. Everybody's obsessed with something, whether it be video games and Netflix, bars and bullshit, or barbells and books. You know what I mean? Like somebody's obsessed with something, no matter what it is. That's why the people be like, oh, well, how many hours do you go to the gym? Like, first of all, I got a crazy process. I spend 40 minutes in the gym. That's it. Like, I'm super efficient with everything I do. I don't really want to waste time. When I want to waste time, I want to enjoy my wasting time. I want to have fun with my boys, my guys, and enjoy life. So if I'm going to waste time, it's going to be wasted properly. Like, everything has to be efficient. You know what I'm saying? So it's all about the inputs, bro. We want the people to focus too much on the outcomes. I want the Lamborghini. What do I have to do? What do I have to do to get the Lamborghini? It's like, what little things? It's like a Picasso. It's like a masterpiece. It's like a beautiful painting. It sells for millions of dollars. It was each individual little placed brush stroke. That's what made up the masterpiece. And that's what makes up the masterpiece of your life, or the lack of it. So my guys, love yous. Don't try changing the world. Just try changing your world. You know what I mean? Because then you can connect the dots going backwards and say, well, I've developed this system. I've developed this process. And it actually works because I've lived it. And along the way of living it, you implement it with people close to you. That's why I wrote my book, Simply Fit. I was in this network marketing company. There's me and one other dude who were jacked because it's not a health and wellness company. The other dude's on steroids. Some people think I'm on steroids, but I actually look achievable. I'm only 160 pounds, Mm-hmm. I've learned how to create a muscle illusion effect, and I train with intent, just like I do everything. It's with intent. I'm very intentional, So an example, when you train a bicep, to create that peak, there's just a little movement you do. You don't need to go in and do all this crazy shit. You just do a couple movements. And so I've developed 7 KSPs, key sculpting points, and there's 7 key lifts that give you that that muscle illusion effect. And then you build and you sculpt the muscle to make it prominent. And then you cut the body fat, you chisel away at the fat in the key areas. Boom. You know what I mean? And yeah, bro, I can keep rolling, bud. But I think they feel me. I think y'all feel me. And it's the little actions. That's what makes up your life. The big part,
For sure. Man, Phil, you've been dropping so much value, man, and I really do. I'm grateful for you and your time. But I got some questions, though, that I do like to ask all of my guests before we wrap up the show. You feeling ready for those?
100%, right, bro.
Let's do it. So the first one is, what is something that genuinely has you excited right now? Dude,
what I'm doing. What I'm doing. But fuck that, Ready? Here's what really has me excited. Right. Because you all can see I'm already excited.
Clearly.
I love, I'm just super blessed. And I'm not doing anything, but it's the fact that I'm I'm on the way, right? What I'm super passionate about and super excited about is Caleb Maddox and Ryan O'Donnell and their passion. I've never met two young guys who, like, they could go and buy cars and they could go buy stupid shit, and they don't, dude. They put it right back into their business, Apex for Kids, and they have over 10,000, young kids. Well, I think it's like 8,000 families. So some families have 2 or 3 kids. I mean, like up to 20,000 kids in this program with crazy testimonials. Like, that's like, what did I have to do? I had to take my life. Thanks, from above, the universe, God, like giving me that intuition inside, even though we all have that, we just don't listen to it often, to tell me how to reprogram myself. But like, I did what I did because of where I started. I did the drugs because I was hurt inside. I did this short, instant gratifications because I was a lack of self-esteem. I was socially awkward, right? A couple of the things we talked about. But like, what if we could have grabbed me when I was a child? What if we could have got me when I was in that theta state where my subconscious was programmed as a young boy, a young man? And then where would I be today? What kind of impact would I be able to make today? We don't really know, but I can tell you I would have lived a different life, and I would have done more good than harm in my mid, years. So that's what you're doing, and that's crazy to think about that, bro. Like, think about the power of that in 100 years, to be able to take 1 million kids, just 1 million kids today, and get them ingesting this kind of content, bro. This stuff. You, the podcast, this, me, Apex for Kids. It's a curriculum that teaches them how to take the right actions to actually be someone who is confident, actually be someone who lives with integrity. I was leaving, we were at the Protein House. It's this like cool like lunch spot here. And I'm walking out and there's this dude, he's like 50, in his 50s. He's getting into his Mercedes. I watch him drop, like by accident, he drops a piece of paper. I watch him, I'm in my car about to leave. I watch him turn around, look at the piece of paper, realize he drops it, turn around and get back to his car. I'm like, this motherfucker, like that angered me. That's where like ego's okay. I didn't go like fight the guy, but I'm like, I get out, I bend over, I pick up the piece of paper. I say, hey bro, I'll throw it away. Don't worry about it. With a nice big smile on my face. And he just looks at me, like the world needs more of me. The world doesn't need more of him. There's people throwing trash on the ground. There's people picking trash up, bro. You know what I mean? Like, who do you want to be? I know who I want to be. So if we can get them, if he was taught that when he was a kid, he probably wouldn't be doing it now. You know what I mean? And it's the little things, back to what we said in the beginning, right? Or 5 minutes ago. It's the little things that make up the big things in your life. I promise you.
Straight up. Just building that foundation.
Bro. Yeah, that's what I'm super excited about, what they're building, and just to think at 17 and 19, Caleb and Ryan, the impact they're going to make when they're 30, like where they're going to be when they're 30 and stuff. It's just amazing to be a part of it and see it. And yeah, man, fucking blessed, bro. Excited for you too, Apple. Excited for you too, bro. You're doing big things, bro.
Appreciate you, Phil. Appreciate you.
Like, really good dude, bro. Thank you so much for having me on. Yeah,
dude, it's been a pleasure. So Phil, I know you talked a little bit earlier about habits that you have, but do you have any particular habits in your life, your business, that have served you particularly well?
Yeah, I mean, there's a ton, but it's like, instead of just throwing a million things out there, right? It's like exercise. The most successful people in the world, go look at all the people you idolize, the Garys, the Grants, the Tys, they all, like, even if they don't super look like it, like Grant, like Ty was in better shape. He's getting a little chunky now. But like Grant's like getting in great shape, and guess what? His business is doing that much better, Like, exercise is key. This is a vehicle. There's a reason we have over 650 muscles, all these joints, and we're made to move, so move. Focus. Attention is fucked in the world today because of things like this. Our attention can easily get distracted. And then what happens when you get distracted? You don't complete things. So do things like 20-minute, 30-minute meditation. Just like this is a meditation. You're just focusing on this. You're not thinking about having to go pay that bill or what customer you're trying to sell or what, you're in the moment. You're in the moment. And that's where we really live. That's where we truly live. So if we train our focus muscle through an exercise of meditation daily, whether it be this or literally 20 minutes focusing on your breathing in and out, that's been huge for me. In 10 pages a day, gathering that content and then applying it, So 10 pages a day of a book, 20 to 30 minutes minimum meditation, exercise every fucking day. And there are 3 habits that if you instill inside of, you'll feel better the first day because you know you did the work. Like you'll feel, if you're not doing it, right away you'll feel an increase in self-confidence because you're like, I just did something I didn't really want to do, but I know it was good for me. You know what I mean? So just imagine inside of 30 days. And that's all the only difference is from the winners and the losers in the world, how they use their time. I don't have more or less than anybody, and you don't have more or less than anyone else. You know what I mean? So meditate, exercise, read 10 pages. Boom.
Boom. There we go. Phil, man, I appreciate you. I appreciate your time, man. Where can our listeners go if they've been enjoying the value you've been dropping? They want to follow up with you, learn more about you and what you're working on.
100%. Yeah, guys. So I always say like this too, like it's so easy. Like I want people who resonate with me and can feel me and believe in me and my authenticity, you know? So it's like, if I want to find anybody, all I do is Google their name. You know what I mean? Like just Google their name. I don't have a ton of content out there. I just started, you know, I've been working on this for almost a decade, but the past 6 months is when I'm really like, even less, bro, like 3 months, where I'm really like, I got to get out there socially and start to get some exposure. But you go to my Instagram page, there's a link in my bio. My name's Phil McCarthy, right? You go to Amazon and get a copy of my book, Simply Fit. I'll tell you what, for any of your listeners on here, if they DM me, I'll be happy to send them a free ebook. Done.
Dang.
Simply
Grateful
Fit.
for you, man.
Short, it's easy, ton of content in there. Mental and physical. It's called The Ultimate Guide to Your Mental and Physical Six-Pack, packed with value, just straight from the heart. Yeah, man, it's pretty simple. Facebook, Phil McCarthy, and in my my bio is the link to, you know, set up a coaching call with me. Worst case scenario, you get some free advice that's you know, pertinent to you as an individual. You know what I mean? Instead of just me going crazy over here, you know, you can literally tell me your problems. I'm going to give you my time for free. And if we continue to work together, fucking awesome. You know what I mean? So yeah. And that link is freefitnesscall.com/M6. Boom.
Straight up. And I'll be sure to link up all of those in the show notes for this episode as well for y'all to find. Phil, again, man, thank you so much for your time. Do you have any last closing thoughts, words of wisdom you want to wrap up the show with here today?
Yeah, sure. Real quick. You already know how to roll, right? Somebody asked me, what would you have done differently in the time span from like getting, you know, your life together at 24 and today? And I had to think about it for a minute or two because it was a really good question. But for all y'all watching, I wish I had taken action on my fears sooner. And that's why a lot of us struggle. We're worried about what our families think and the peers and outside groups and, you know, people commenting on Instagram and what will they say. And listen, the people who talk shit are the same people who don't do shit. You're never going to get a guy like me or Apple that are like talking shit on you, man. We're just going to be like here for you and helping you. And like, I wish I took action on my fears, you know, and all my fears were backed by was false bullshit, you know? So take action, guys. You ain't going to die. You ain't going to go to jail. Make it happen.
Straight up, words of wisdom. Phil, man, it's been a pleasure. And I appreciate you choosing to spend your time here on Young Smart Money.
Thank you, bro. My guy.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this latest episode of Young Smart Money and got a ton of value out of it. If you did, do not forget to subscribe to the podcast. It only takes about 5 seconds. If you're walking the dog, if you're going to the gym, pull that phone out of your pocket, press that subscribe button, and drop us some love in the ratings and review sections as well. Those really do help the podcast get in front of even more people and helps us get even more amazing guests on the show. And I do read each and every one of your ratings, reviews, message that you send me. They really do impact me and the show and show me exactly what you want to be seeing here on Young Smart Money. So again, do not forget to drop us a rating, review, and subscribe over in iTunes. And guys, have a wonderful day. Take care. And I really do appreciate you choosing to spend your time here with us on Young Smart Money. Have a wonderful day. Real quick, just launched a new project called the Online Course Examiner, basically the Yelp of online courses. It is blowing up lately, onlinecourseexaminer.com. Check it out.